Well, g'day everyone, welcome to another edition of Fly Fishing in Nature's Realm. Now in this edition we're going to tie another fly, and in last week's episode it was a Tasmanian fly. I do a lot of Tasmanian flies, they're quite spectacular, and this is another Tasmanian fly and it's called the robin. I suppose a few experienced fly fishermen out there, they'd all know what the robin fly is, but there'd be a few beginners that might not have any sort of knowledge of the robin fly. But the robin fly was, it's outlined in a lot of different publications. It's in the book Ripples, Runs and Rises by David Scholes, and there's a bit of sort of like writing there on the actual tying of the fly, and tied by Noel Jetson. And Noel Jetson, let me tell you, the late Noel Jetson, he was a unbelievable fly tyer. He could tie flies like you wouldn't believe, and a great fly fishing guide, and he tied the robin. And as to who developed it and who invented it, I'm not quite sure. It could have been Max Christensen, could have been Dick Wiggum. I think it might have been Dick Wiggum, I'm not quite sure, but there's a lot of different people saying different things, so I'll just stay out of that argument. But what a great fly, guys. Any fly that's got any red in it, it tends to be a better fly than a lot of the other flies, because red to a trout or to any fish is a signal of blood, and when you've got blood it means injury, and it really attracts predator fish to the different prey fish and bait fish and so forth. So that's what the robin, it's a great pattern in that regards. Now to tie the robin, the materials that you will need, we'll put them above right now, and you can pause your computer at any stage and write down all the materials that you will need. So let's start tying the fly, the robin, a great pattern. Now again, 6/0, 8/0, 10, size 10, size 10, 8/6, that's your, whatever your preference there, and we use a 6/0 fly tying thread. So let's start off just below the eye of the hook, and we'll tie in the fly tying thread. Cut away the surplus there, and let's advance our way down to the bend of the hook, stopping when we're in line with the barb. Okay, which is about there. Now the next step is to tie in some red wool. Alright, now you could be any type of red wool that you like, as long as it's got that colouring of blood, that's the main requirement there. Now when we tie in this, we want to tie it in a little bit lower on the hook bend. Alright, this is just to create more of the red colouring. So we'll tie that in at around that point there. And then bring it up, covering that excess to around about that point there. Alright, around about there. We don't want it too much towards the body. We put in black seals fur for the body a little bit further on. So let's now tie that in, or wrap that around the hook shank. As you can see, we've come a little bit past on the bend. And we want it to be a bit bulky, so it really stands out. So a few wraps, almost to an oval shape, and then we'll tie that off. And we'll cut away the excess there. Alright, now the next step, or the next requirement, is to tie in some silver wire. Now I'm tying this to the original tying, so it's silver wire, but I suppose you could use any type of wire that you want, but make it sort of, I don't know, about a small size, not extra fine, but not too thick as well. We want it to be that sort of happy medium. So we'll cut off ourselves a section of this. We tie it on top, and in that point where we tied in the red wool. It should be okay. Now, our next requirement is black seal's fur. Now, seal's fur is a terrific material. It can be hard to come by. There is, in some situations, they don't have it in the shops, but every now and then they do get a supply in. And so black seal's fur is the next requirement. So we take a pinch of seal's fur. It's a great material, really pulsates in the water. A lot of nymphs and a lot of other patterns and other flies are tied from black seal's fur, or seal's fur I should say. I've got a whole range of colours there in the seal's fur. So we spin that seal's fur onto the fly tying thread. And it's always good to have a small amount. Now, having less is better than having too much, right, when we do tie this seal's fur on, because you can easily overbulk it, the body of the fly. As you can see there, I've got a little bit too much just there. Okay, now we can see that the body is a little bit slim in there. We need to put a bit more, so we work our way back with the seal's fur. Yeah, see the amount I put on there was just a bit too much. Put some of that back and spin it onto the fly tying thread. And coming back towards the eye of the hook. And then we've got the amount of seal's fur that we need on this fly, the robber. Alright, and then we tied at the head. Now, as you can see there, we've got a nice amount of black seal's fur, and you can see it's all that the fibres are all sticking out and they'll pulsate under the water, giving further attraction to the fly. Alright, now the next requirement is to get ourselves a cape of hen feathers, alright, black hen feathers, and you want the feathers to be pretty thick and they need to be of good quality, alright, so that we can, have a nice wing. And if you can, if you've only got two feathers, put them concave, against each other, alright. So I've already got two set up here, and we'll tie that in at the head. We want to judge the proportion of the wing to the fly. That's about right there. Tie that in, a few wraps. Make sure it's nice and even and on the top. Now, that's perfect. And what we do is we bring the silver wire into position and we bring the wing down, and with the silver wire we go through the fibres. So we're looking around about, and what we can do is get a bobbing needle and separate those fibres. So we can then bring that wire through that and then bring it down. Ooh. Okay, let's do that again. Get the fibres, just separate them a little bit to there. Bring the wire between the fibres. Bring it down gently so that we don't move the wing like that. sure that wing's nice and straight. And then separate some more strands around about there. Pretty fiddly. And then probably one more turn in between that bunch of fibres, just there. And then bring the wire up towards the head and then tie off. Cut away the surplus wire and the feather fibres just there, and then bring those fibres nice and straight and bring them back up. Have a look at the wing, make sure that that's nice and straight at the back, and extending past the bend by about half a hook shank. Okay, now what we do is we can build up a head with the fly tying thread just before the eye of the hook. We need to build this up because what we're going to add to it, and this is only a option, this is very optional, is jungle cock eyes. Now I like to have jungle cock eyes on my fly, or on my robin. It just really enhances it to no end. So we get ourselves some jungle cock feathers from a jungle cock cape, and as you can see, this one's being used quite a lot with the hook size range at around about there, but as you can see, we've got a few left of the smaller size, and we've already pulled them out, and we'll tie them in. Now when we tie the jungle cock eyes in, remember to strip the base fluff away from the stem, or the base feathers, and tie them in against the thorax of the fly. Now if by chance it sticks out, now if I get the actual, that needs to come more down, so unwind that. Now if the jungle cock does fly out, alright, and doesn't sit hard against the body, what it means is that you need to build up that head of the fly a little bit more. So what we do is we build up the head with our fly tying thread. To a greater degree, and we need to make that a little bit shorter, so around about here. We could probably snip away at this, just like that, and then we bring that against the body, and a few loose turns and that's sticking out. So the body or the head needs to built up a lot more. So that we can, the body and the head are even and level. That's what we want. Takes a little bit of mucking around. Now I could have made a slimmer forax. Would have been an option. So we've got that. Alright. And now we can whip finish the actual fly. One, two, 5, and like so. See if we've moved them all. That's good. And we'll do one more whip finish just for good measure. And we can snip away the thread. And let's just tidy it up just a little bit more. Okay, and so there is the robin fly with jungle cock eyes. Now you don't need jungle cock eyes, alright, that's one thing I need to stipulate, is that the need for jungle cock eyes is optional. I feel it enhances the fly a little bit and can make the fly look a little bit better, but really it doesn't need it. You could still, I'd say, catch the same amount of fish as you would with or without the jungle cock eyes. But a great pattern, guys. It really is. It's a fly that has been instrumental in catching a lot of fish for a lot of fly fishermen in a number of different situations. And as I say, the quality of your feathers is paramount into tying a good fly and a good fly in position. So there you have the robin fly. Give this a try and then go out and fish it, and you'll be pleasantly surprised. No reason to worry about that. Alright, until next episode, this is Bruce Smith saying goodbye on fly fishing in Nature's Realm. Bye for now.